You can start the recording, and there we go. I have to click on all my little buttons here to acknowledge that I'm being recorded. So I'm Charles Thornton Colby. I'm the executive partner at the Partnership for International Birding. And on the phone call today is Jose Antonio Padilla Reyes, who is a bird guide in Peru. He lives in Cusco. He has truly been guiding in the Amazon part of the tour for over 20 years, or about 20 years, since 2001. And he's been a full-time bird guide for 14 years, including the Manu Road, before Via Carmen existed. And we'll talk more about that. So just so everybody knows who hasn't been on one of our video conferences before, you can text questions to me at any time, and I'll send you a little text to show you where they go. And then we'll have some sort of natural geographic breaks to sort of invite more questions in. As we're only covering 2 spots today, we'll probably stop for a couple times during the Via Carmen presentation, and a couple times during the Manu presentation, and then once at the end. But during those breaks, feel free to unmute your microphone and ask away. Questions are very, very welcome. Just a brief introduction of Jose Antonio Padilla Reyes. He grew up in Lima, Peru. He has been a professional bird guide in Peru for nearly 20 years. He started as a guide in the Amazon basin and expanded his birding to include the Manu Road. In recent years, he has led trips in northern Peru and other parts of South America as well. Clients truly love his friendly, casual manner, and he is always willing to help. He just did a northern Peru trip for us, wrapping up about a week ago. And truly, the first feedback we got is, gosh, what a friendly guy. Clients also appreciate Jose Antonio's expertise in bird watching and bird finding and tour logistics, and his warm personality all make him a really great choice as a birding tour leader in Peru. With no further ado, I hand the microphone over to Jose Antonio.
Okay, Charles, good afternoon, and everybody who have joined me for this presentation. Thank you very much again. My name is Jose Antonio. Feel free to ask any question during this presentation. As Charles said, we are going to be doing Manu Part 2. Now we're catching up on what we left a few months ago, where we did basically the Manu Road, and we are now going to be focusing mainly on the 2 lowland lodges that we have in this part of the country. Now, one is Via Carmen Biology Station, which started operating in 2010, and the other one is Manu Wildlife Center, which is farther down into the heart of Manu National Park. Okay, so to start with this presentation, as usual, we need to go to the map, right? The map of Peru, of course, we have it here. And if any other Peruvian birding destination, we start the trip in the capital of the country, which is Lima, Peru. Lima sits in the middle of the desert, as you probably know, because we have the coast here in Peru on the western side of the country, and it's the only capital in any country in the Americas that is actually facing the ocean. All right, from Lima, Peru, we take a flight to Cusco City. We fly over 685 miles, and it's about 1 hour and 5 minutes. And we arrive in Cusco City, which is where I live in now. Cusco is up in the Andes, it's at about 11,000 feet, a little bit high, So in this occasion, we don't tend to spend so much time in Cusco. Cusco is very touristic and very historical city, because it was also the capital of the empire of the Incas, the Inca Empire. But is Cusco the place or the city where we start the tour? From Cusco, we're going to be heading, northeast, right? Towards this little spot here, which is Via Carmen Biology Station. From here to there, we're about 132 miles.
Hey, Jose
Okay?
Antonio, we don't have a map on the screen, buddy.
You don't?
No, we don't.
How can I share my screen? Hmm.
Like on our
Yes,
screen
yes.
is your PDF, is your PowerPoint.
Right. This is strange.
But either way,
Oh.
from Cusco, you go northeast, and
Yeah,
the
from
new road you can drive. I mean, we bird actually in several spots, which are covered on the other video conference along the way. But if we drove it straight through, Cusco to Villa Carmen is what, 5.5, 6 hours, or closer to 6.5, right?
Correct. It is about 6.5 hours. We go over the mountains a couple of times, and then we go down into the Manu Road until we get to Villa Carmen, which is about, 1,800 feet in elevation. Hold on, Charlotte. Let me try to share my screen because
Yeah, I just don't want to mess it
well,
up. So, because we do have your PowerPoint up.
right. I'm gonna stop sharing, and then I'm gonna be sharing.
Oh, you clever man. You bold man. Hmm. Technology
you?
trusts.
Yeah.
No, we're seeing
technology
your
test.
cheerful face, man.
Okay, thank you. Tell me if you're sharing, if you are seeing.
Ah,
Okay,
and
that's
there's
it.
the map. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the map,
yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you. All right,
Yeah.
so
So there's Cusco, and then as we go
that is Lima,
northeast,
Cusco, correct.
we
So
go
we are just saying that
northeast.
we're saying that we arrived in Cusco after flying from Lima, which is where I live now. And from here we go northeast, you're right. And we travel for about 132 miles, which is about seven hours, I would say, 6.5 hours to our next destination, which is, Villa Carmen Biology Station. No?
Yeah,
This is here.
and just to clarify, the sort of classic birding sites along Manu Road include Pi'ilawato, which is close to a research station called Huequecha. And then the Cock of the Rock Lodge area is also good for 2 or 3 days of bird watching. And so before we get to Villa Carmen, we bird all along the Manu Road, and we stay at 2 different lodges even before we get there. And for the record, we usually bird a couple lakes in Cusco before we leave there. And but after we leave the Cusco area, it's just a couple hours before we sort of reach our first birding destination along in the cloud forest along the Manu Road, correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
Right,
And as
right.
you can see, here on the map, the brown area is the Andes, the mountains, and the green
Oh,
is
perfect.
obviously the cloud forest, and then the Amazon rainforest. It comes further east. So here we are in Villa Carmen Biology Station, and as I said, we already traveled for about 132 miles to get there, about 7 hours from Cusco, stopping in the places that Charlie had said. And here, Villa Carmen Biology Station, a birding lodge, is located basically where the Andes meet the Amazon in southeastern Peru. As I said, about 1,805 feet in elevation. So it's not that high anymore. More than 500 bird species can be found at Villa Carmen, making a great destination for birders on its own or as a part of a route combining other sites on the Manu Road, as we already said. The reserve features extensive trails for birders and a lovely lodge and a dining facility, as you can see here. No.
Hey, do you want to share your other PowerPoint?
How you can share it? Can you see that?
Right now we have an image of what I think is the dining area at Villa Carmen, though I'm not 100% for sure, but it looks like a dining area to me.
Yes, it is.
Okay, good. So we're on the right presentation.
Okay, here.
There we go. Yeah, it seemed like you were reading something. I see that you were. And there you go. Go ahead, my friend. I'm sorry I interrupted.
No problem. So here in Villa Carmen, we have an extensive bamboo forests, no? And as you can read here, birds to look for include, of course, bamboo specialists, no? Like the Peruvian recurve, Manu amber, etc. Now, some of the key species we have here, I'm gonna show you in a minute. There you
Great.
go.
There
it
we
goes
go.
slow, it goes slowly, Charles. That's why it takes a little bit of time. I can
That's
see
no,
that,
that's
you
fine.
know?
That's fine.
No, some of the key species here, of course, within the bamboo forest that we have at Villa Carmen is obviously a rufous-headed woodpecker, near endemic to Peru, white-cheeked toddy flycatcher, another highly localized bird that we only have it in southeastern Peru and little spots in Bolivia and Brazil. Black-backed toddy flycatcher, which is a Peruvian endemic that likes areas that are with new growth of forests, right? And it live around Villa Carmen Biology Station. So it's Manu amber. Manu amber is basically another bamboo specialty that if you are not walking inside bamboo, you will never see it. No, so it's Peruvian recurville, was endemic for many years and it's been recently found in Bolivia as well. So it's near endemic species that we have just in this part of the country. No, another ones, no, as you can see, so we have a couple of species of macaws that otherwise are hard to get, like blue-headed macaw. Blue-headed macaw is poorly known, only live in southern eastern Peru and a little bit of Bolivia and Brazil, but most of the range is in here in Peru and very much around Villa Carmen Biology Station. So it's military macaw, also known as mountain macaw, because it lives up in the mountain mainly, and it only reached down to an elevation of 1,500 feet. You know, farther down than that, we don't get to see military macaws. The very charismatic, you know, hoaxing as well, live around this lodge, right, of Villa Carmen. Nighttime also offers opportunities to see and hear several species of nigers, out on putus in this area. As I said, we have a bird list of over 500 species here in Villa Carmen. So I'm gonna see if I can share again, you know, the map.
We don't have to go back to the map. It's cool.
There we go.
Nah,
Okay. So
I don't think it's worth the time. Go ahead, my
could
friend.
you see it? No.
Oh no, I just don't think it's worth the production effort to switch screens. So let's stick to the PowerPoint,
Okay.
if that's
And
okay.
you see the PowerPoint, right?
Yeah, we all got a feel of the map. Any questions on Villa Carmen and bamboo area birding?
I forgot to mention, Charles.
Yes, go
The
ahead.
Villa Carmen Biology Station, you can read it here. In fact, it's managed by the Amazon Conservation Association,
Yeah.
no, ACA in short, or ACA in Peru. It spans 7,600 acres and boasts more than 25 miles of trails, spanning a wide variety of habitats, including an old-growth forest. Old-growth forest is basically in the mountain, and we almost never go up there because it's a little bit hard to climb. Secondary forest, there's a lot of it around. The streams, river, and attractive waterfalls. No, so it's very interesting habitat around. A lot of opening areas, you know, that we can do a great and easy birding. American Bird Conservancy also worked with ACA or ACA to purchase the land for the reserve in 2010, as I said, and build tourism infrastructure on site. Which is interesting as well here is that tourism profits are reinvested by ACA or ACA into reserve management and conservation projects. That means if you come to Peru and you come to this part of the Amazon and you stay at the Carmen Biology Station, obviously you are supporting conservation and protection of the forest through, you know, these conservation organizations in Peru and in the States. No? So saying that, Villa Carmen is a really nice place to go. It's very comfortable, and that's why I wanted the map. I mean, to show you some of the facilities there in the pictures. But
oh, that's fine. We can go back there if we have some time. Hey, I just want to talk a little bit more about the birding. So we actually talked a little bit. I think it was a couple days ago. What are the two main trails you cover there that you feel are sort of the best for the bird watching?
Basically the bamboo trail, of course.
Yeah.
And the bamboo trail, and also going west of the Carmen Biology Station, we go this great. Can you see the map now?
Yeah.
These great open areas, which used to be agricultural areas in the past until, you know, until ACA came and landed here. And it's a great opening for birding as well. So the bamboo forest will be around close to the lodge. It's not very far. No, it's about this area here, but over here is where we see these openings, and
Yep.
this is where we go and do a lot of the birding. I mean, it's great for raptors. It's great for things like flycatchers, raptors, macaws as well. They're all flying back and forth, and not far from here actually. In fact, I think it's in this direction. There is a little old oxbow lake that has become dry in recent years. And
Mhm.
all around is a kind of like a swampy area, right? Which has a lot of native species of palms and all that, which is also great for birding around. It's open, there's palms, so swamp. So there we can get things like palm creepers, a lot of macaws species. And don't forget also mammals. We are getting into an area in the Amazon rainforest that is great for mammals as well. Not particularly here. This is more for birds, not because of all the agriculture areas and the people that live around, because there's some people living around this area, but not great for mammals yet. But we may get one or two species of monkeys around here. No, but mainly we stay here for the good facility, for the great rooms and for the great bamboo and the openings, for bird watching. So this is why we
I
stay
gotcha.
here, and not far from it, there are a couple of good hummingbird feeders as well that are owned by
Oh, yeah.
local people. One of them is Mirador Pico de Oz, as you can see here. And the other one that I believe is not in the map is called Inca Amazonia. So this road in here, folks, that you can see in the map, is what we're gonna take to get to these hummingbird feeders, like Mirador Pico de Oz and also Inca Amazonia, which is around here. Sorry, Inca Amazonia is here.
Right.
One on
Okay,
the left and one on the right.
yeah, and so just to have this right, we usually spend like a full day on the bamboo species along the bamboo trail.
Correct.
Is that like a full day of walking? You cover what, 2 or 3 miles in and 2 or 3 miles out, or probably like a mile and a half in, a mile and a half out? I'm just
It's a
asking.
mile and a half. It's really, I mean, it's not very long distances.
Okay.
It's about a mile, I would say, to
Okay.
go, and 1 mile. It's like a loop, you see. The whole
I
loop
see.
is about 1 mile or so.
Oh, I gotcha. So it's just a
And
nice trail about a mile, and it's very
exactly.
birdy, and a chance to get those bamboo species. And then you had mentioned like the upper cloud foresty bits. That's actually the same habitat that we're getting around Cock of the Rock Lodge. So it's just easier to get those birds out of Cock of the Rock, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Remember the Via Carmen biology station, which is located here, as I said, is located where the Andes meets the Amazon. That means it's located at the foothills, right? Or down,
Yes, sir.
Down at the bottom of the mountains. It is an area where get some of the mountain species and also get some of the lowland species. So in that way,
and then there's
open
those excuse me, and then those open older agricultural areas, like they're sort of regrowing a little bit, but the birding in there is actually pretty good because it's more open than the more dense rainforesty areas. Correct?
That's what I said, yes.
Okay, I just wanted to understand. Plus, we're gonna have to write up that trip itinerary area in no time, sir. Always gotta educate me a little bit. Oh, and then the road, that road, is that the road that goes to Atalaya?
Yes, exactly. This is a road.
And so typically before we get to Atalaya, we're gonna route that in the tour so we can get those hummingbird species as well, of those hummingbird feeders as well. But we'll probably have sort of either the last morning after we leave Via Carmen and start heading back, or we just have a mush day in there to sort of chase whatever we have left in the bamboo areas, open areas, and the feeders should be good almost any time of the day. Correct.
Okay.
So then that's kind of Via Carmen. Oh, and you also mentioned nocturnal bird watching. What are some of the nice nocturnal species you get typically in Via Carmen?
In Via Carmen, we have tropical screech owl, for example. We also have the Tony Belly screech owl too, gray putu, common putu as well. They're always
Uh-huh.
singing, you know. So it's just a matter of going out
Yes,
at night and you actually find it. Now,
I gotcha.
something to take in consideration, like in any other lodge in the Amazon, that is, you know, walking off the trail, you can get things like what we call chiggers, no?
Oh, we
Which
know
are,
those. We know what
yeah,
chiggers are.
yes. And we just recommend, of course, to spread a lot of mosquito repellent
Yep,
around your ankles, on
yep,
your waist and your arms, no?
yep.
Just to avoid chiggers, but normally we do that, no? We follow the instructions and we okay with that.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you added that little bit about one of the most unliked bird bugs in the United States. Anyway, owls. Da, 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 da. Oh, you mentioned some mammal species. What are the couple of mammals you usually see?
Normally, as I said, no, I mean, a couple monkeys here, like woolly monkeys can be
Okay,
seen, and the small squirrel monkeys as well, or Bolivian squirrel monkeys, night monkeys as well. You got night,
okay.
of
So
course,
noisy
they are
night
very active.
monkeys.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
So, but I mean, as I said, because of the people
so mostly some primates.
around, see, because of the people around, it's hard to see the bigger mammals.
Okay,
But we get one or two species mammals, especially monkeys, no, in there.
okay. I gotcha.
Mhm.
All
All right.
righty. I got
So
anybody
I'm
got any other questions out there? I'm gonna look at the chat box as well. I think the one chat thing was about the map. And I'm gonna send a text to the group and you can go ahead and any other questions out there, you can unmute and ask. If not, we're gonna move down the river to Manu Lodge.
exactly. So again,
Let's
no,
move down the
in
river to
this,
Manu Lodge.
okay, so to go there, we need to go from Villa Carmen to Atalaya. Atalaya is a small town, as you can see. Here is only what, 6.5 miles on the road. And in Atalaya is where we take the boat, no? These are the motorized canoe. Once we get there, we get into the canoes, and then we're going in a very long boat ride from, to Manu Wildlife Center, which is down here. Okay, at Manu Wildlife Center, we are already at the heart of the Peruvian Amazon rainforest, as you can see here. So this ride in dry season will take about 5 to 7 hours, probably more. I mean, including this with the stops on the way, it will take about maybe 8 hours sometimes. I mean, it's a long drive. We're talking about more or less 110 miles. That we're talking about, we're doing 110 miles to get to Manu Wildlife Center. We usually take the whole day to get there, and we get to Manu Wildlife Center by, after lunch, 3 or 4 o'clock.
Right. And
in
we
the
talked
afternoon.
about that like just recently. And we're gonna get an early start. We're gonna get to after about what 3-4 hours, we're gonna reach this nice hummingbird garden. It's actually a part of a lodge that we wouldn't stay at, but just because it's not that good of a lodge. But they do have a nice hummingbird garden. And then probably bird there for an hour or two, have lunch, take a little break. And then after we leave that hummingbird garden, we just have a couple hours to Manu Lodge, right?
Correct. That Hummingbird Garden Lodge is about here. It's about,
Okay.
where the Manu River meets the Madre de Dios River. From
Okay,
here,
gotcha.
we are about 2 hours to get, Manu Wildlife Center, which is down here.
Right.
No,
So it is an adventure to get there and an adventure to get out. But
exactly.
again, it is
Exactly.
and we estimate there's about 200 species that you'll get it in the Manu Lodge area that you won't get on the rest of the trip.
Exactly. That's what we estimate. But Manu Wildlife Center itself will have over 600 species of birds. No, but you add another 200 species. I mean, you are coming from the mountains and you're coming from Villa Carmen Biology Station. Correct. That's true.
Gotcha.
Okay, so
So
let me.
well worthwhile. Go ahead.
I know that I know what I had to do now. I have to stop sharing for a second,
Sure.
and then I have to share again to go to the PowerPoint. So we are already here, guys, and it takes a little time, as you know. And here's some of the features about Manu Wildlife Center, which is all good to know. Manu Wildlife Center is located about 985 feet in the lowlands Amazon rainforest. So again, we're already very low. So forget about high altitude, sickness or anything like that. It's really hot and humid, that's for sure. I mean, the Manu Wildlife Center featured the most picturesque macaw and parrot clay lake in the world. I'm gonna share some of the pictures with you guys in a minute. And you have two oxbow lakes. Remember, oxbow lakes were part of the river in the past until the river changed the course and this part became isolated. One is called Camungo and the other one is called Blanco, with a, one of them have a huge canopy tower. They have an extensive trail system, especially designed for bird watchers, okay? It has, as I said, two 120 feet canopy towers in huge ceiba or kapok trees, right? They are way up in the top. It had also plenty of bamboo forests around, but I think Villa Carmen Lodge has more bamboo than Manu Wildlife Center, to be honest. High diversity of habitats like terra firme forest, flat plain forest, and we have the chance to see the canopy as well, from the towers. It has, as I said, over 560 plus species of bird, which is amazing. It's like a world record for a one small place. And it has the world, in terms of mammals, the world's largest paper clay lake, and 12 species of monkeys. For all of this, Manu Wildlife Center was one of the best, if it's not the best, birding lodge in the Peruvian Amazon rainforest. All right, so it's got a lot of things to offer, and you can easily spend 4 or 5 days in the lodge, and there's always things to do. No, so here's a picture, for example, of the two canopy towers near Manu Wildlife Center. The one on the left, as you can see, the sparrows sort of shapy trail system, no steps up to the top. And the one on the right is the canopy tower, which is located by an oxbow lake, where you can have a huge and a very nice view of the lake as well as the canopy. So they're both over 120 feet, as I said, above the ground, and they are great for birding, especially early in the morning. We go to these two places and we get a lot of birds up there. No birds that you will never see on the ground, as you probably know. So another key species and Manu Wildlife Center, I'm sharing some of my pictures here with you guys, is, for example, long-tailed putu, and you normally see at night, but hard to see. And sometimes you get a perch where it sleeps, and then you got a long-tailed putu on the left. From the tower, you can get things like Western striated puffbird, that again, it's always, often seen, but hard to find it. But as you are in the tower, it's easier. Orinoco geese, when you are on the Madre de Dios River down there, is a common species to see along the river on the right. So is plant-throated cotinga, one of the most beautiful and loveliest cotingas we have in the Peruvian Amazon rainforest, that we can also see from the tower. And the red-billed pied tanager, another rare species that only live up in the canopy of the Amazon. And we don't always see it, but we have a great chance to see these birds when we are there. Now, well, if we have still some energy left, as they said, we can always go to see, well, the tapir at night, leaking the dirt and the clay in this tapir clay lake, which is also a mammoth clay lake. It's about 1.5 miles to get there. And we usually get there before it gets dark, because tapir coming when it's already nighttime. So we get there with lunch or dinner, sorry. So before it gets dark, we have dinner quickly, and then we wait because we have a huge platform, well-covered platform with some mosquito netting, so we can, and some mattresses. So we can sit down or even lay down if you want. We put the mosquito netting down, and then we wait for the tapirs to show up. I mean, it could be any time during the night, but they do show up, and they come in almost every night. So to see tapirs, as you probably know, it's very difficult. Tapirs are the largest terrestrial mammals in South America, and they can weigh up to more or less, 500-600 pounds easily, and they are in the family of horses, and rhinos, So they are very strange, bizarre looking mammal that can easily be seen at Manu Wildlife Center. Another mammals and other things apart from birds, folks, that we have the chance to see when we go down to Manu Wildlife Center are of course caimans, the magnificent and the huge No, and the biggest, largest cat in the Americas, the jaguar. No, giant river otters, sometimes in the lakes. No, and brown-throated three-toed sloth. Some of the mammals that we can get also walking around. I mean, in the river, from the river, and also walking around trails. Not like this magnificent and super rare emperor tamarins also live around Manu Wildlife Center. And guess what? Sometimes it show up behind the kitchen, right? To steal bananas or some fruits from the kitchen. And they go back to the forest. And the red howler monkey, which is one of the 12 species of monkeys we have around, that makes really loud calls in the morning and wake everybody up usually when we are there, no? So this is very, apart from birds, as I say, something that we can always see going there. It is a place that, as I said, you never get bored, right? Of being there. You can easily spend 1-2 weeks, no, and there's always something to do. And here is a picture, one of my pictures on my paragliding platform.
Hey, before we go to the macaw and paraclalic platform, let's see if there's any other questions about birding in Manu. There was one question about an oxbow lake, which somebody quickly replied. An oxbow lake is a bend in the river. I love the fact that we have such well-qualified naturalists on the call. An oxbow lake is a bend in the river that's become disconnected from the river because the river flows someplace else and it just becomes a separate long sort of lake there. So that indeed is an oxbow lake. And they're traditionally good places for birding because they're open and a lot of birds come in to feed and drink there. I just am going to point out that we do have a bird frequency list, so you can kind of see the birds you're going to add at Manu Lodge versus along the Manu Road. It's currently all lumped together. We need to separate it out, but we do have more information on the sort of specific birds you're going to probably add to your list when you go to Manu. Any other good questions out there about either the Oxbow Lake areas, these mammal watching areas, other bird watching? Well, it's in the Amazon, so they probably don't have hummingbird feeders, correct?
They don't, but they have just in the gardens of Manu Wildlife Center, they have so nice verbena plants and flowering plants, and a bunch of hummingbirds come to the flowers, no? But there's no feeder. There's no
But
feeder
but it's not as productive as the hummingbird watching in higher elevation.
No,
there you go. Of course not. Which
more
is true, by the way, throughout the entire Amazon. A lot of people don't realize that there's very few hummingbird species in the Amazon basin. It's all the good hummingbird watching is usually at higher elevations. And somebody asked about Manu Road. He was late to the call, but if you look at our other video presentation, that's about Manu Road that ends in Via Carmen, which we covered at the start here. And then the Manu Lodge is a good long boat ride down deep into the Amazon, but is sort of essential South American birding. Any other questions out there, folks?
Charles.
Yep.
Here I'm reading a question. It says, are they feeding amphibians anywhere on this trip?
Perfect.
Yeah, let me answer that question.
Yeah, sure. Perfect. Go, my friend. Thank you.
Okay. Just to answer the question, I would like to go back to the map.
I knew you were going to go back to the map.
So I can be a little bit more specific. So we
go, no. It's good.
If we go to the Carmen Biology Station, which is next spot here. Remember, I was talking about that between Villa Carmen Biology Station and Atalaya, which is the place where you take the boat, there are a couple of hummingbird feeders. Right. One is called Mirador Pico de Oz, and the other one is called Jardín de Picaflores in Amazonia. Here in Mirador Pico de Oz, so you know, they are feeding one species of ampita, which is the Amazonian ampita. Okay, so far so good. We've been very lucky and very successful with all the group we've been taking there, and we always see them or see the ampita. All right, so that's the only species so far they are feeding at the moment, but they are also working on feeding some species of tinamous, right, and wood quails. So hopefully next year, these birds will be coming to the same feeder where the ampita is coming, and we are also successful in that one. Okay.
Great. Thank you, sir. And Stuart, thank you very much for the question. Another question just came up here. Are the birds in Manu quite similar to those seen in the Tambopata River and research center? I don't have the answer to that, but I know
very
you've birded a
similar.
lot of these
Yeah.
places. Yes.
They are very similar because Tambopata Research Center is also located like not far from the mountains. So it's in the same sort of latitude and the same distance that Manu Wildlife Center is also from the mountains. So the birds are very similar. No, we do have, however, this nice facility for the macaw clay lake, which is something that they don't in Tambopata.
Right, but let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, there are. I mean, back in the day, we're talking 30 years ago, like Manu Wildlife Center was really the kind of first major birding lodge in the Peruvian Amazon. Quite frankly, I think their birding infrastructure is hard to beat. I've been lobbied very hard by many different lodges about to stay there instead of Manu. But quite frankly, for bird watching, I think Manu's birding infrastructure is a lot stronger. And by infrastructure, I mean things like trails, location to some degree, but mostly trails. But typically, birding infrastructure to me means things like feeders and trails, and other kind of structures that make birding easier and more accessible. Which I guess does bring us to the next question, which is. Yeah, let's talk about that macaw clay lick. I didn't know it had a platform. That's pretty sharp. You can go to that slide, sir, if you would like.
Okay, so in order to do that, I need to stop sharing for a minute.
I know.
Okay.
You're very good at switching, buddy.
Thank you.
We have some people who they switch their screens and they disappear. So you're doing great. Thank you. Go ahead, sir. Good question, and thanks you for those questions.
Yep. So as you can see here in the picture, we have the platform is much bigger than this. So up to 60 people can be all sitting there together at one time, facing the macaw clay lake, which you can see back there. Which is an open, exposed cliff, which is by the river. And in this case, it's not by the river anymore because the river had changed the course. And what we have in between the platform and the clay lake is just a little stream that used to be part of the river in the past, but it's now almost, as you said, disconnected. And now it's better because there's no traffic on that part of the river anymore. The river is like half an hour behind, all right? And we'll be there all by themselves, all alone, watching the macaws end in the morning. What we normally do is we bring breakfast here. Because we leave, it takes about 45 minutes to 1 hour to get from Manu Wildlife Center to this place. We first take the boat, right, for a little while, and then we walk through an island, right? Remember I told you that this clay lake is not connected with the river anymore. So we go through an island, and we finally get to the platform, and there is where we set up the breakfast, because we get there by 6:30 or so. So we set up breakfast in the morning, and then we sit down and people can go and have like a buffet breakfast. And it's excellent, nice coffee, nice hard-boiled eggs, nice juice and all that. And while you are eating your breakfast, you're watching the birds. And some of the amazing images that you can get here, as you are actually watching the macaw clay lake, is something like this, This macaw clay lake was one of the first macaw clay lakes ever studied by biologists in the Peruvian rainforest. It was in fact featured in the National Geographic magazine of January 1994. So first, to arrive in this place are parrots and parakeets, which are not the big ones, and that happens between 6:30 until 8:30 in the morning, right, until 9 o'clock or so, 8:30, 9 o'clock. And after parrots and parakeets finish with the clay, they go back to the trees and they will eventually go. It's the time for the macaws. Macaws are late arrivals, right? They start coming from all directions and start perching up in the trees, above this cliff. And then they start flying around in circles, making sure that the area is nice and safe. And when they see nothing, and when they see that the place is actually very good to come down, they start coming down slowly, until eventually they arrive on the cliff and they start eating the clay. As you probably know, I mean, these birds eat clay just to neutralize some toxins that they eat during the day, because macaws, parrot, parakeet, all birds members of the parrot family, they are seed eaters, right? That means they don't actually eat the fruit. They go break the fruit and they go and eat the seeds. So in order to neutralize the toxins that are found in the seeds, they come to these clay lakes and they eat the clay, right? That's why, and this is, as I said, the reason probably why the Peruvian Amazon rainforest is famous for, because it was here in Peru where they first studied these places, all right? The thing about macaws here is that only one species, or sometimes two species of macaws, can land in clay, and they are the green-winged macaws, also known as red and green macaws, and the scarlet macaws, as you can see here. All right, so the whole experience, I will say, will go up to more or less 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. So you're very much busy the whole morning watching these birds there. And because you are in this nice platform, right down there, before you reach that little stream, there is a nice sort of island forest where you can get a lot of little birds like spine-tailed seed eaters and things like that. So you're always in constant looking. It's not like just sit there. I mean, you just sit there and you just wait for the parrots and macaws to come there. So there's always birding around, and there's a bunch of birds always singing in the surroundings. So you're always busy watching birds, right? And this is like, the ecstasy, the peak of the morning to see these fantastic birds coming down and eat clay. If you are extremely lucky, for example, right, and you are all there, sometimes you can get things like this. This happened to me, a couple of years ago in the same macaw clay lake in Manu. I was waiting for the macaws to come down and play, and then suddenly an ocelot came out of the forest, and when the macaws were eating already clay, he grabbed one and he took it away, as you can see here in the picture. It's not like it's going to happen every single trip, but because we are in a so isolated area and so far from people and from any sort of civilization, right, we can get things like this, all right? So that's why the whole thing is an unique and amazing experience, right? This is a photo, my photo. I took it just when I was watching the macaws come down. So after that, well, we also have, as I said earlier, a couple of oxbow lakes. Oxbow lakes, as you mentioned before, were like an old part of the river, old bed of the river, that eventually when the river changed the course, it got disconnected and it became an oxbow lake. We have like a horseshoe shape, right? And we have two close to Manu Wildlife Center. One is called Camungo and the other one is called Blanco. And here's the port, and in the port there is a nice sort of like what we call catamaran, which is like two big canoes all connected by a big square piece of wood. And on the piece of wood, they have like a nice camping chairs where you can sit down, and then with the boat driver and the navigator that coming with us on this excursion, we go with paddles, right? And very slowly, making no noise at all, around the whole lake, looking for lake specialties, like band-tailed ambirds, like silver amber, like pale-eyed blackbird, etc., which are also some key species around. If we are extremely lucky, we can get things like this, a harp eagle. And with this picture that I'm sharing with you, I would like to thank you, for this presentation. These two places covers a lot of things, many birds, but of course we have to work with summaries, with the little ones, with the key species. And this is a picture that I took not long ago. It was only a couple of months ago. I went to see there was a nest of harp eagle close to actually Villa Carmen biology station, and I went there. I got in contact with the local people who were actually looking after the nest, and we went there with some colleagues, and we saw the juvenile, the baby harp eagle, And as you can see, where we are in constant communication with local people there, and because we live here and we are from this area, and we can get you things like this, like the harpy eagle. Anyways, so
Oh
before
my
that,
gosh.
it's not the end of the presentation, in fact,
Oh
because
my gosh.
the way out, Charles, as you know, the way out of Manu.
Oh, it's like also the tail end of the thing. Yeah, let's see if we got some more questions and then we'll cover that.
Okay, we
You
cover that.
opened up like a can of worms with that harpy eagle, pal. So we gotta start there and then we'll take some more questions.
Okay.
So anytime the harpy eagle is found in South America, I mean people who've dipped on it before, it just drives them nuts. Um, so the bottom line is, is this harpy eagle nest pretty reliable from Via Carmen? Or, I mean, just so people know, when there's an active harpy nest, the harpies feed for what, 2 or 3 years before they switch off, and then they disappear for a while, and then they come back. Is this like a
Yeah,
reliable thing to do from Via Carmen, or not so much?
it has been the first year when
Okay.
they have actually seen the nest.
Okay.
So we don't know how it's going to be the following years. What we do know is that harpy eagles tend to come back to the same nest.
Right.
So we already talked to the local person, and I would say, look, next year or maybe 2 years from now, check it out, and maybe we see the nest and the offspring there. No?
Yeah, so just to be clear to folks, there are a lot of great birds along the Manu Road and at the Manu Lodge. Together, we typically get, I mean, we've had trips with close to 680 species, but typically, like I would say 500 to 600 species. That last 80 comes from a Machu Picchu extension. So you'll probably get, I don't know, I'd say 450 to 500 species there. So, but just know, like probably in 6 to 18 months, you should be asking me about the harpy eagle in Peru, and maybe it will become a reliable thing. And if so, we may end up adding, I don't know, a day to the tour. I'm not really sure how that would roll. People are crazy about harpy eagles.
Yeah, I know. So what we can do is add another day, go
Yeah,
with
yeah,
box lunch, and then get back to Villa Carmen for dinner.
exactly, exactly. Yeah. So if we suddenly add a day to that tour, that's what that's about. Um, okay, so the next bit that I have is, oh, you talked about okay, so this is something I was not clear on about the macaque clay lick. It's actually out on the island area, and you don't have to walk around to see the sort of Amazon island species. And just so people know, there's a bunch of birds that really just like to nest on islands in the Amazon. And what you're saying is the macaque clay lick area, a lot of those species are just flying around, right?
Right.
Yeah. So that's kind of nice. But then you do additional walking to look for those species before you leave the area, correct?
Yeah, exactly, because you
Yeah.
need to
Okay.
reach you need to reach the boat again. And the boat stays on the main river, which is about 20 minutes from the platform. So you
Right.
need to walk these 20 minutes through that island in order to get the boat and then get you back to Manu Wildlife Center. So these 20 minutes can be 1 hour, no, 1 hour and a half you are birding. So
Gotcha.
and then, I mean, you got the opportunity to do birding while you are waiting for the macaws, and also the chance to do a much more birding on the way back, not to the river,
Right.
and on the way back to the boat.
Right. And again, just another kind of funky specialty group
Yeah.
are these island endemics. And I mean, they're bizarre. And that includes Oriole blackbird too, or is that just an Ecuador thing?
No, we have the trupial, no? The
Oh, so you have
trupial,
the tribute. I got you,
yeah,
got you, got you.
orange back trupial, which
Okay,
live on
which is
islands.
not, which is okay.
So is the umbrella bird, for example, that's a chance for that, with the live on islands in the Amazon,
Okay, I
etc.
gotcha.
Most
Um,
most of the migratory species of flycatcher we land on islands as well.
right.
Mhm.
And then I just want to emphasize to people like truly how remote this area is, but really it's the magic. I mean, he mentioned National Geographic. Quite frankly, almost any um uh television show about the Peruvian Amazon kind of was filmed on their way to Manu Lodge, and they do feature that macaw claylake. I mean, to me, it's just, if you've gone as far as Via Carmen and you're right there by Atalaya, it's just a shame to not go down to the Manu Lodge. And it's actually, as eco lodges go, it's not priced that high. And they've really improved the infrastructure for sea Ingles used to be kind of a problem there, but they've improved all of that. So I just truly hope all of you guys would consider an extension to the Manu area. And just, its remoteness in terms of bird watching, wildlife watching, being deep in the heart of the Amazon Basin. I just think it's a great experience that nobody should really want to miss. And again, once you're at Via Carmen or Cock of the Rock, you're a couple hours away from Atalaya. And it's just a shame to not go down there. That's all I got to say. Can you go to that long-term POTU photo? I don't know if people appreciated, in one of our very early PIB websites, when we were actually called something called Nestling Tours back in the day. This was a long time ago. We have a POTU photo, and it's like, find the POTU. I think this is much the same. Like, I can tell where it is. Can you just get the image just on that POTU photo? Because it looks like a branch. I mean, I think they're the most rats.
Here?
Yeah, see if you can enlarge that so it takes up more of the screen. Maybe you can on, but point to the bill and the eye. So that's the top of the bill, and that's the eye. But walking by that tree without a bird guide, you're probably going to walk right past that huge bird. And this is giant. Oh, this is long-tailed pot.
This is long-tailed POTU, yeah.
But you can see, like, there really is a bird sitting there. But I think this is a fantastic birding group. They're just such cryptic birds, but they are a bird. It's nice to have a guide along so you don't go walking past it. Any other questions? Oh, we had a question out there about the macaw species. In that one picture with the scarlet macaws, there was, I don't know if it was a macaw or a parrot below, but there was a blue looking macaw in there. Not even sure it was a macaw.
This?
Yeah. Are those guys? Is that just the back of the scarlet macaw there, or what is that?
No. That's the back of the blue and yellow macaw.
Oh, so that's the blue and what macaw?
Blue and yellow.
Blue and yellow macaw, which is all. It's also sometimes called blue and gold. Exactly. Yeah. So that's the back of the blue and yellow macaw, or the blue and gold macaw. Different field guides call it different things, but it's the same species. We had a question about that. Oh, and then, you'll love this. Here's like a softball pitch, pal. In what countries other than Peru is San Antonio guide? Is Jose Antonio guiding these days? Go ahead and answer. Yeah, so Bolivia, and he does Pantanal in Brazil. He does Amazon in Brazil, and he's truly a 3-country bird guide at the moment. And there you go. But yeah, and I do think he's going to have a viable. Somebody's got to lead our Bolivia trip this next year. It's probably going to be Jose Antonio. And then Brazil dates, he's got a pretty good set in like June, July of 2022. And then just so folks know, the season for this Manu trip is basically like April is still too wet, right?
Yeah, it's still too wet, especially for the
But by the 1st of June, we're okay, right?
Yeah, 1st of June, yeah.
Yeah, so from June through October, mid-October, or all of October?
All October. September is also good. October.
Yeah, so June, July, August, September, October is sort of the Manu Road and deep Amazon Manu season.
So, but I don't think we answered the question, Charlotte. It says, how about the blue macaw, not the hyacinth? The pure blue macaw lives in Brazil, I believe.
Right. But she was talking about the blue macaws on the photo along with the scarlet macaws.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. So those are indeed not hyacinth macaws. Those are Pantanal, endemic type birds. But that macaw there is the blue and yellow macaw, or blue and gold macaw. And then she was talking about also, I think, the green pay arrots on the other side. Are those blue crown pay arrots?
No,
I
no,
don't
we
even know.
we have two species of parrots here. The
Yeah.
bigger ones, the ones that are slightly like somebody have put white powder on it. They're
Yeah.
called Amazonian mealy parrots.
Okay.
Mealy. And the other
Amazonian mealy pay arrots.
mealy
I
parrot.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the other smaller ones are the blue-headed parrots.
Blue-headed pay arrots, and there you
That
go.
also come obviously to eat play before the macaws do.
Right. I
They come
gotcha.
first.
Right. So there's pair arrots and macaws there, and there you go. I actually wish every guide in the world, when they set a bird family name, they just list the full species name, because every birder is keeping track of what species they're seeing. They don't really care about the family groups. Man, and I'm glad we got that harpy discussion done, dude. Any other questions out there? These are good ones. I don't know. Should we wrap it up, or do you want to talk about birding to Puerto Maldonado?
No, it's just as a way
I don't
as a
think we
way to
should.
tell. Just to say
I don't
how we
know.
get out, no? Just to say how we get out.
Okay. Just so people
Um,
know, getting in
exactly.
is difficult and getting out is difficult. It's not difficult. It's pleasant. It just takes a little bit of time. Yeah.
Exactly.
So we start the day with a boat trip, right?
Exactly. We started there in the Manu Wildlife Center with a boat trip. We go down to this place called Boca Colorado. As you
Mhm.
can see here by boat, it's about 3 hours to get there, and about more or less, I would say 60 miles. And from here, we take a car, no, a small car that will take us to this other town, which is called Santa Rosa. And it's about 1 hour and 10 minutes or 37 miles or so. And here in Santa Rosa, we cross a river that we don't really see very well here, which is the Inambari River. We cross it with small motorized canoes that are owned by local people. And on the other side of the river, here in Santa Rosa, there's a car of us waiting for us to take us all the way down to Puerto Maldonado City. Puerto Maldonado is the capital of a region called Madre de Dios, and it's a frontier town close to Brazil and Bolivia. And here in Puerto Maldonado, we spend one night, we do a little bit of birding, and then the following day, we fly back to Lima for the people, to take the flight, the international flight back home, It's about 1 hour and 20 minutes, the flight from Puerto Maldonado to Lima, and that will be it, Basically, this is how we get out of that remote part of Peru, going to Puerto Maldonado City. All right, basically, so people know how. We don't actually go back to Cusco by the Manu road, we keep going east, and we finish in Puerto Maldonado City, if you are interested in know how we get there. All right?
Nice. Well done, my friend. It's truly, I was recently accused of not communicating with clients about how remote Manu was. I truly think it's part of its magic. And we used to stay at that Amazon Ani Lodge, and it cut that boat trip drive down a little bit, but it's a good 6-7 hours on the boat with a good couple-hour break at that Hummingbird Lodge. I see it as a couple-hour break, but maybe just an hour at the Hummingbird Garden, and there you go. And what coquette species is at that garden, buddy? Is Rufous crested or?
No. It's well, they call it butterfly coquette now.
It's called butterfly coquette.
Yeah, it's
Really?
a lowland species. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm not familiar with that baby at all. Everybody knows that I'm a sucker for a new hummingbird species, so I'm curious. I love the hummingbird family.
It's now called butterfly coquette, but it used to be called effective coquette.
Right. And a client here is asking if it's possible to link this trip with a visit to the Pantanal. And it's truly just a function of scheduling, but both Pantanal and Manu are virtually the same seasons. So it would be possible to fly to, I would actually fly to, I don't know which one. You could do either either one. I mean, both, there's got to be what, 20, 30 flights between Lima and Sao Paulo every day. Sao Paulo is a city you have to fly into to get to the Pantanal. I mean, you go Sao Paulo and then Cuiabá, but most flights are connected to Cuiabá through Sao Paulo, and the commercial flights between Lima and Sao Paulo, I gotta think that's 20 flights a day, right?
I think so, yeah. I mean,
I would just guess, just because they're both big commercial areas in
25
South
flights a day.
America. Oh,
Is
I'm
that what you're
guessing
saying?
20 to 30 flights a day.
No, not that many. No, no, I
Okay,
would
so
say less than
maybe,
that.
so let's, but the point is, it would be easy to fly from Sao Paulo to Lima, and there would be for sure some direct flights, right?
Yeah, there's only 5 hours and 5 minutes from
Right.
Lima to Sao Paulo. And yeah, but there's no way, for example, to go from Puerto Maldonado to Pantanal.
Yeah. No,
You
and I
need to go
think,
back to Lima. You need to fly back
right.
to Lima.
And not to be too much of a birding travel nerd, but I think the weird link in terms of birding tours that I think is quite surprising is Bolivia and this Manu road tour, because there are flights between La Paz and Cusco every day. Are those flights currently active? Oh, well, not during the pandemic, but regularly before the pandemic, there were regular flights between La Paz in Bolivia and Cusco because they're right over the mountains from each other. Just
It's
right now,
only
those flights are not coming along. Any other questions, folks? All right, hearing none, I just want to thank everybody for participating today. I want to thank Jose Antonio for a fine presentation, and
thank you. Yeah.
not getting too mappy or anything. Anything else, and then I think we'll sign off. All right, everybody, thank you for your time, and look forward to an email on our revised Manu Road and Manu Lodge trip. And there you go. Thank you.